coming and everything, you kind of worry, you know, it's like, oh boy, what's gonna.
Well, if the cold weather kills, it would be safe, but I don't think that's an issue. I think it goes away. A lot of my people are leaving for Arizona early this year.
Yeah, I don't think it's the. Yeah, darn.
Hello, everyone.
Hey there.
I will call the
McDonough.
Finance and Budget Committee meeting of October 14, 2020 to order. We have just the quorum. Maybe if Commissioner O'Neill or Commissioner Anderson join us here, we'll have the full committee. We'll start out with
You can use Commissioner Matkins can fill in though, right?
yeah, but we have four. So
Okay.
Commissioner Fisher, would you like to start?
Thank you, Chairman McDonough. I have no questions or concerns about the check run. I just like to see the check run under 100 pages and see it without the $1.4 million for the shops. It looks like it was a very well unspent week. So thank you, Danette. Keep up the good work.
Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too have no questions or concerns with anything on the check run.
Commissioner Callahan. Dan, can you hear us?
Looks like we might have lost Commissioner Callahan for a minute, but Commissioner O'Neill has joined us. So
I'm sorry I'm late, team.
Good, buddy.
Pleasure to see us.
Any questions, Commissioner O'Neill?
I do not.
Commissioner Mankins, you want a shot at the Finance and Budget Committee this week?
No, thank you.
Come on.
I'm glad to see you sit in on this once, in a while. It's always good for commissioners to always visit the Budget and Finance meeting, the Public Works meetings, and also the Judiciary Committee. I think it's a good experience for all of us to get a little more educated as we move through the years of being on the commission, because we'll be losing some experience this year. Chairman McDonough will no longer be with us. Commissioner Morgan will no longer be with us. And I think it's important that we have people step up and fill these positions with knowledge. So happy to see you there, Commissioner Mankins. Looks like we might have lost Mr. Callahan for a minute.
I'll make a comment too that our vice chairman's attendance record is about 10% the last 2 years. So somebody may want to fill in the void there too.
Chairman McDonough, I got comments and it's not on the agenda, but I think the committee of the whole, Michelle was there last year and the year before. The time before was new Commissioner Purdue Dolan at the time. So I think at the time when we do our committee of all committees, there might be a better way to do it than just pull the name out of the hat and have somebody, just do it, because no doubt everyone that's been here for a while knows that attendance is a big deal on these subcommittees. So Commissioner Callahan, have we found you yet?
He must have dropped up totally off. It looked like he was sitting in the hallway downstairs.
IT's on the way down to help him out, so we'll just wait a few minutes. Anything we should be aware of?
Nothing. We have submitted our second round of CARES Act funding, going through those processes. So hopefully we'll be getting some money and we can be talking someday about allocation of funds and how those funds can be spent. We're still waiting on guidance from the state of Montana, who's waiting on final guidance from Department of Treasury on how those funds can be spent. So we're still holding on. And then it'll be good to see too what our collections and what not tax bills are being generated right now. We signed off on most everything today. They'll go to the printers tomorrow, so they'll be sent out by the 1st of November. And it'll just be interesting to see how the collections come in and how our community's doing.
That's always good information.
Yeah.
Chairman McDonough, I see Commissioner O'Neill has his hand up.
Commissioner,
My name is Chairman McDonough. I do have a question. On a change order, like on the county shop, when change orders come in, then is it, I know obviously that happens in a project, but as far as budgets going on the county shop, how are we doing there? Are we,
We're still,
good, that's it.
Commissioner McDonough, Commissioner O'Neill, we're still coming in under budget. Even with those change orders, we're still falling within budget. I think the last time I looked, it was about 243,000, somewhere under budget.
Another good.
very good.
As long as they give us the rest of the money that's left that we come in under budget. That's what we want. You know, I guess Commissioner
Right.
Commissioner McDonough, there is one other thing I should inform the committee about. We are right now working on an RFP because related to the shops. We will no longer have a fuel station at the county shops because that wasn't part of the project. So the underground tanks were taken out of the project. So right now we're working on an RFP. Hopefully it will be released by next Wednesday for sure, if not on Monday. Our schedule was Monday, but we're still waiting for everybody to take a look at it. That will be released, and then we'll have probably 3 or 4 weeks, and then we'll be coming to council with some RFQs, RFP type responses, because we expect them to be very different depending upon who responds to it. And then we'll be coming back and we'll have a card system in place. Just so you know and are aware too, we're also still looking at the possibility of some type of fuel station at the shops so that we can take advantage of the bulk fuel purchasing. We still think that that would be advantageous to the local government to continue the bulk purchasing. We've reached out to a few communities so far. We've got a lot of information back from Great Falls, and they've been really great about wanting us to come up and do a tour of how they are doing their fuel stations. They have above ground tanks at a couple different locations. So right now they have one on one side of the river, and then they're actually in construction process right now, putting the other one on the other side of the river. And they just run the fuel stations on 2 separate above ground stations. So kind of a neat concept to look at too. And we'll look at the financial feasibility of that and what the best route for us would be going forward. So, but temporarily, we are definitely all going to have to move towards the card system, the purchasing at the fuel stations. So whether it's whatever entity proves to be the most successful.
So Danette, could you touch on that? Like,
As
if
far
we
as
get
the
the card system, then are we still looking to build bulk tanks above ground to replace that or enhance it?
maybe a combination. You know, hopefully we're looking at it, we're studying it. So we know right now we have to go to the fuel cards. So it's going to be going to whether it's Town Pump, Sudi Oil, what's the other one? City, the ones.
Zip.
Yeah, Zip, any of those ones, whether it's those entities that bid and whoever gives us the best pricing and rebates, basically is what it's going to be when it comes to the cards. But then in conjunction with that, during the next few months, we're looking at the cost of the above storage tanks, because they're now they've really improved the storage tanks, and they have like all the different spill areas and different things that we could possibly put in. We've seen some costs around $151,000 for the tank part, and I think totally into it on one of the studies, and similar to what we've seen in Great Falls, it's around $175,000 for one tank that's around 24,000 gallons. And you can split it in compartments, so you can have 10,000 gallons of unleaded fuel and 10,000 red dye diesel and 4,000 of something else. You can split it in 3 compartments. And so we're kind of looking at those to maybe bring forward as we go through the next budget cycle.
So on larger trucks or vehicles such as a bus or a dump truck, how do we handle that? I mean, with those,
Right now, we're gonna have to be careful when we select under the RFP that whoever is successful, that the buses and the large equipment can fill at their stations.
Okay.
We do have transport capabilities, so we have tankers or whatever that are on the back of the trucks. I'm not sure what they call them. There's something else, slips, something. So we haul to those areas. We haul to the the job sites right now. So we have some backup capabilities there to haul the sites so that we're not always going from the job site to a town pump or a Thriftway or Zip Trip or wherever to get filled up. So, yeah. It looks like JP joined you. JP was on, we had a discussion about the claim that I think Commissioner Callahan, I'm not positive, had questioned why we had purchased things from Home Depot last week. I don't know, JP, can you hear us?
I did see something on there.
Did you get an email from him?
I seen on the check run where there was a return of $47 or something.
That was
Maybe that
for
was
another piece. So JP can probably explain it better if he can jump on here, but he had responded to the email when I requested some more information on why I purchased from Home Depot. And they had gone to the local hardware stores, they named them all, that they went to trying to find this battery and parts for their hand tool, the Makita drill or whatever. I can't remember what it was. I think it was a drill. And the only place that they could find the battery right now to purchase from was Home Depot. So they did try locally. They searched as much as they could, and then they had to get the part. So.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can.
Yeah, we looked locally and we're unable to get the batteries locally, and that's why Jennifer Kearns went through Home Depot's mobile site and ordered the batteries from there, and that was the explanation. I did not get an email out to Commissioner Callahan, but I will. I had failed to get that done. I told you I would, but I'll get that out ASAP.
thank you.
Chairman McDonough. Switch gears here a little bit. Tonette, could you give us any enlightenment on the financial aspects of the road maintenance change that we had on our agenda a few weeks ago, where we're going from a parcel to something else?
So we did that presentation back in June, early June. I think it was late May, early June, on how it was pretty comparable financial wise, the amount of revenue that would be generated going from parcel to units. So the revenue was going to be very comparable. So right now, I think Commissioner McDonough just put in the communication that we start moving forward with those ordinance changes to go to the unit method. So the next step will be that we'll introduce the ordinance change that has to take place first to change the method of assessment, and that will include public hearings as well. So we'll have to go back through the public hearings to make those changes once the new amendments to the ordinance are introduced.
We had a glitch last week. I missed it. We made a recommendation to concur and place on file instead of referring it to the Judiciary Committee.
I thought it got referred to Judiciary.
I had asked, but kind of slipped by myself and Commissioner Morgan, or Chairman Morgan. So I talked to him today when I noticed that it wasn't on committee, and then went back, and the recommendation last week was the concur and place on file. But the request was to refer to Judiciary. So we talked about our alternatives to get it back on, and we're just going to leave this concurred and placed on file, and County Attorney Jones to introduce the ordinance
Okay.
to
Okay.
at the Judiciary Committee herself. So
Okay.
it'll still be done, but it's just not on tonight as we lost the.
Because it got moved. Yeah. Yeah. So our intention was that communication would start the process. Then the county attorney will introduce those changes. Then the judiciary committee will ask us to set the public hearing. Very similar to how the process was when we established the district.
Right. Thank you. That was interesting. Thank you.
That's a good question, Commissioner Fisher. Sorry, can I ask one more? On Commissioner Fisher's thread there, if somebody has a house and a parcel next to them, how would their assessment change with the change per unit?
Depends on what their tax bill looks like. So if to a unit method, it would probably be the parcel. If it's split in two parcels, is it split in two? Do you know?
Well, I've had, I know people have like a house in the adjacent lot to them that they bought just to maintain and.
The lot is empty without
Vacant.
an improvement.
And
Yep. One. Under the unit method, they'd go to one unit because the definition that we shared with you, which would also be something that the commissioners judiciary committee would have to approve of the definitions that we established. So the definition would be an improvement to a residential parcel is a unit, one improvement. So then if it's a duplex, it follows the same way that we do like metro charges or landfill charges. It's 2 units. If it's a fourplex, it's 4 units. The ones that we have problems with, like we talked about, are the discussions that are going to have to be around like storage units because they're not really those facilities aren't necessarily using the roads because they're not a vehicle stored there. So we're going to have those discussions on how we define those. They're more or less, for the most part, storage units and those entities are considered commercial. So our recommendation to you, and I can resend that presentation out, splits residential and commercial so that they're done in 2 separate ways so that we're not picking up and charging for things that we're trying to really establish the unit method without tax issues that we run into.
Chairman,
Commissioner Fisher.
Danette, being we're on this subject, I don't want to dwell on it too much because I know it's still in the works, but there is not a possibility that by going to the new structure that we will lose what we have in the old structure.
My understanding is no. We would be pretty flat, if not gain just a few parcels, because what happens as development happens and they add improvements to that piece of parcel, then we get to pull that back on. So I'll send you that presentation again and really look at the difference, and you'll see that the big change is that we pick up some of those housing units under the unit method, but we lose the vacant parcels.
Right.
But once those vacant parcels start having improvements on them, then we pick them back up.
Thank you. I read through that and I follow it, but I'm kind of waiting for the final thing and get into judiciary so we can actually see the structure of what we got going because I really think that the last move we made 4 years ago or 3 years, whatever, it really has improved. I can see improvement in the roads in our community. I can see improvement, although it's not what everyone would like to see. I have seen improvements, and I think we're moving forward. And I just want to make sure that by doing something different here, we're not taking a step backwards from what we've got going. So thank you. I appreciate your work on that.
So our recommendation to you will be, and that's under the advice of the county attorney, is that we would not be repealing any ordinance or repealing any. We would just be amending the current resolution. So if you don't amend the resolution or change the resolution or the ordinance, then we don't lose what we have today.
That's the perfect answer I was looking for. Thank you.
We don't want to lose that.
Right.
It's gonna, over time, it's going to be a great improvement to the community. So yeah, we don't want to lose that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to suggest we have a vehicle tax. The more vehicles Commissioner Fisher sells in the next year.
Remember, we already have a local option vehicle tax. We already have one of them.
I see the back.
Commissioner Neal.
Thank you, Chair McDonough. That's a good one. Thank you for that laugh. Speaking of vehicles, and talking about gas, I know how to address this. When the police are changing shifts and driving all over one another, taking back and forth. I mean, maybe it's something I just not let it worry about, but I feel like how much gas is being spent, how much wear and tear in the vehicles. What if something happens during the shift change? I mean, nobody, I don't know. Is that something a guy should be worried about? Whether it's financially, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should not worry about that, worry about something else, but it does come up to me. I just it bothers me a little bit. I've shared my concerns with some of the police guys, and it bugs me that they get to pick each other up from work when some of them live at Buxton and whatever. But if it's financially stressing on the county for fuel, for the vehicles, then why the heck is it, or should I just mind my own business and worry about potholes? So help me out here, team. Thank you.
Well, I'll try a little bit, but so it's always, I'm not sure how it ever changed. I really don't know. Back in the day when they were down on Idaho Street and sharing some of the facilities down there, I know that they used to drive in and then they would change vehicles. So I'm not sure if there's ever been a complete analysis done on, the time that they save from, immediately being able to go to work from the time they're picked up and how their work schedules work like that. Just from a scenario from all of us knowing that, if you put miles on a car, it's wear and tear. And when you put miles on a car, that adds up in fuel and maintenance and everything else. So, yeah, I mean, we'd have to really do an analysis on it. And to my knowledge, there's never been anything formally done. I have a hard time driving from the 9 mile up to work every day and seeing vehicles. I will tell you, under the fuel system that we have today, we have a similar type of system. But when we go out for an RFP, most of the card companies that we've seen today, they have a card for the vehicle, but each person has their own PIN. So with that said, is that the card, they put the card in, they do the odometer read, for example, because we're tracking, so we can watch that. But they also have a PIN number that they have to load in, and that PIN number is only unique to the employee. So it'll give us a better tracking mechanism for sure when we move over. Right now we have the card and we can see usage, but it's not as solid as what going to like the fuel stations will be.
Good question, Commissioner O'Neill.
Just a follow-up. Thank you for that. I think the new system will probably work fine with the fuel cards. I mean, you'll be able to track who, if somebody's, I don't know. Again, when I say stealing fuel, I'm not saying anybody is, so please don't. I hope nobody would ever think of doing that. However, we can track it better, but it is a concern even from citizens. For my people talk about, they see it. I mean, and they just really don't like it, even that they're so. I mean, everybody has to usually drive to work. Again, I don't even know where to start that one, but I'd like to know the discussion of that. I realize why the police keep their vehicles on 24 hours a day. They run for their equipment. It's hot in the summer, cold in the winter. The vehicles never shut off. I've seen them run for hours upon hours, and obviously that's for computers, so that's justified. But I still do have a hard time with them picking each other up, and don't understand that. I mean, then what if they get on a call and that guy's supposed to be off, and now he gets overtime because he didn't have time to drop him off? Or if my house is getting robbed, do they drop him off and then come to my house? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a real deal that I think it's kind of annoying. I think it needs, I don't know.
Review.
I don't know where to push that, but
Yeah.
I guess I complain about it every Wednesday to you guys, and it's good to see you. And thanks for letting me complain about it. I appreciate that.
It's all good. It's all good. I will tell you too, though, along with the fuel system, we're updating our policies on take-home vehicles. That has always been a pet peeve of mine, mainly because of the IRS guidelines, because IRS guidelines is for emergency call, emergency services, or public health and welfare type stuff. And so I just think that we will be working and sending our policy update on the take home of vehicles. That should also help address some of that, some of the use. I don't necessarily say it's abuse, because we've given them the right to take home a vehicle and fill it up with fuel and drive home, whether it's 2 blocks away or 5 miles away. Somehow they've been given that authority to drive a vehicle home. And I just think from time to time, it's always good to review those things and just make sure that, who's taking them home should be taking them home. And those that should be sitting somewhere, they should be parked until they come to work to pick them up.
Commissioner Shea, would you like to make a motion? We're like right up against it.
You guys are talkative.
I will make a motion that we have reviewed the expenditure list and approve for Tuesday, October 13th, 2020, in the amount of $1,856,545.05.
Second.
Let me reiterate that to make sure I've got it correct. $1,856,545.05.
Yes.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. We got a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We got like 45 seconds and Commissioner Mankins had his hand up. You got a quick question? Yep. Okay, I'm jumping off so Commissioner Olson can assume the seat in 2 minutes.
See you later.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening.
Thank you.